Alfonso, what are you reading during this self-isolation time, this quarantine time, coronavirus, COVID-19? And I wanted to make a video. I know a lot of people are wondering. I've had a lot of emails and little DMs on people wondering exactly what I'm reading. So I'm going to share with you not only what I'm reading, but what I'm going to be rereading. Some of these books I've read over 5 to 10 times, and if you really like a book and it resonates with you, you know what? I suggest you reread it. There's nothing wrong with rereading a book and getting a full understanding of what resonated with you in the first place, right? I've been doing this a long time, and I'm an entrepreneur, a real estate investor for 24 years now. I do have comments on the coronavirus and what to do. If you are an entrepreneur and a real estate investor, you can simply go back to my channel and look for the COVID-19 video and what to do in my comments around that. My name is Alfonso Cuadra. If you're just joining me, I'm an entrepreneur and real estate investor of 24 years, and you are free to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified the next time I do a video like this. So, my list of books. I'm going to start with number one, which is The Richest Man in Babylon. A small little book. I'm sure you can get through it either in a day or two, but it's a really powerful book about money, and one of my favorite books. Talks about interests, talks about lending money, talks about building businesses, and I love this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. I've read it about 3 times. This will be my 4th time. This book here I've read probably over 15 times, and I will be rereading this book. I think it for me anyways, in my personal opinion, has been the most impactful book in my life. It allowed me to expand my mind and really be in a position of building true wealth. Think and Grow Rich. It's not only on my top 5 list of all time, but definitely during this self-isolation time, I'm going to be rereading this book. That's Think and Grow Rich. Next one is on sales, which I'm a huge believer on salesmanship, influence. I've been a student of human engineering for a very long time and why people make decisions. Of course, I'm a master negotiator. I'm in negotiations all the time, even if it's just negotiations with my kids. This here, The Way of the Wolf, one of my favorite sales books, and it's Jordan Belfort. If you know him from, he's the subject, the person behind the true story behind the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. If you know that movie, great movie. And he talks about the straight line system, how to get someone not only to make a decision, but guide them through that decision so they ultimately purchase your idea, your concept. I'm huge on sales, and if you want to expand your business, I suggest you get this book. The next one is on leadership. John Maxwell, which he's got hundreds and hundreds of books on leadership. I suggest you read them all. But my favorite one happens to be the 21 Irrefutable Laws on Leadership. If you look at this book, I've carried it around for a while. I've read it a few times, and I will be rereading this book during this time. If you are a person that is managing people, managing a family, or being part of you're part of a community or a family or an organization, you need to learn about leadership. The next one, kind of in the same vein of salesmanship and influence, comes one of my favorite books on influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Do you want to learn how to master the universe? Well, you want to crack open this book. I've read it about 2 or 3 times, and this will be the 4th time I'm going to be rereading this book, Influence, A Psychology of Persuasion. People ask me all the time, Alfonso, why are you going to reread a book? You know what? Why not? If a book resonated with me, every time I reread a book, maybe I find something new that I didn't read before, or maybe I wasn't focused on that particular idea before, or maybe after going out there and applying some of the things that I'm learning when I read, I stumble upon another idea, a new idea, in a book that resonated with me in the first place. So that's why I reread books. Hyperfocused, one of the best productivity books that I've read. Talks a lot about the idea of hyperfocus and how to create the environment so you can hyperfocus. Talks about having a distraction device, having a separate device that you can keep your social media, all the things that are going to distract you, the games on your phone, all that stuff. Having a separate device just to distract you, so now you can create the environment to hyperfocus. I've read a lot of productivity books. Not too many have resonated with me. This book right here, Hyperfocus, definitely I would say that one of the best productivity books that I've ever read, and I will reread once again. The next one is your good friend GC, Grant Cardone, The 10X Rule. Definitely a book, and now I'll be honest, I've only read this once, but in the past 5 years, this has creeped up into my top 10 list. And it talks about, your goals. Whatever your goals are, they're too small. You should 10x your goals. And in order to 10x your goals and achieve your goals, you need to 10x your actions. And I really love this book. I resonated with it right away. And so it's going to be a book that I'm going to reread. Last but not least, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the original book that started it all for Robert Kiyosaki, I happen to think is one of the best books in finance, real estate, entrepreneurship. I love this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books, but I would say this is a good, if you haven't read it, good time to read it. And if you already read it, you know what? Go back and revisit it. And maybe read it with your family, your kids. Well, here's one right now. Here's my little girl right there. I have two girls. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, what's new? What am I going to be reading new? And you guys can say yay or nay on this. I went to the bookstore. I picked out a lot more books, but my focus is going to be on these 5. I've heard a lot about Sell or Be Sold. I will be looking into that. I will report back to tell you how it is. That's Grant Cardone. This is marketing, right? I heard a lot about this book, and it's something that I heard a lot of people talk about, and I said I need to read that for whatever reason. I haven't read it yet. So this is marketing. Will be one that I'm going to be reading during this time. Dean Graziosi, for years, decades, we've been hearing about Dean. I have never read one of his books. Millionaire Success Habits. I picked it up. I will let you know how it is. Definitely on one of the books that I'm going to read. Now, as a lot of people already know, I have a youth foundation. We do events, entrepreneurial, financial literacy events for young people all across North America. Unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, we were not able to do so. So, you know what? I want to read up on Rich Kid, Smart Kid, and maybe there's things that I can capture from here that I can bring to all my young people in my sessions, my entrepreneurial youth sessions. If you want to know about how to get involved, you can go on Facebook or find us online, quadrayouthfoundation.com or Quadra Youth Foundation on Facebook. But I think there's some really great takeaways that I can bring from Robert Kiyosaki. And you know what? I'm always trying to fill my mind with good information. And then last one, Last but not least, I'm going to be reading Power Shift. Damon John, the shark, the people's shark. Definitely someone that I've been meaning to read a lot of his books. I know there's one that, The Power of Broke. His story really resonates with me because he came from clothing. I came from clothing. He started in the urban industry, of course, FUBU, as everybody knows. I started in the same way, except that I didn't have my own clothing line. I had my own hip-hop clothing stores, and that's how I started. And so I resonate with Damon John, but guess what? I haven't read any of his books. So looking forward to reading this. If you guys have any books that I should be reading, please comment below. Tell me, you know what, Alfonso, I loved all the books, or, you know, I really like that book that you're talking about, or what about a book that you guys suggest that I should read? We have all this time now. Now, a lot of my time is going to be spent on execution. I've committed myself to waking up an hour earlier to be able to read a lot of these books, and it's not going to get in my way of execution. So, my good friends, comment below which books do you like and which books you don't. Other than that, you know I love you. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified for the next video, and we will see you soon.